Welcome to Real World AIP, the channel dedicated exclusively to helping you implement the autoimmune protocol. I'm Stacy, and today's video is going to be what I eat in a day. I get a lot of requests about what do you typically eat in a day. We want to see a video on that. So basically, I have reintroduced coffee. So I start my day with a cup of hot coffee, frothed with about 1 teaspoon. I don't get crazy. I'm not putting a whole stick of butter in my coffee, but I do love to just put a teaspoon of coconut oil. It adds a beautiful creaminess and a froth, almost like drinking a cappuccino. I just love it. If I'm staying over at my boyfriend's house, I will bring a mason jar with my coffee and some medium chain triglyceride oil, which is like liquid coconut oil, and then I'll just shake it up and get a little froth, and I'll drink it cold like that. Breakfast, I have my porridge. I have a video here on how I make that. That's what I've been eating lately, but before that it was my white sweet potato breakfast bars, and then before that I was on a kick where I was eating dates with coconut flakes, toasted coconut flakes, or nuts that I had reintroduced. But lately, yeah, definitely the porridge. I'm loving the porridge. So breakfast is about 300 calories, mostly carbs with a little healthy fat. So today I changed it up a little, and I had the coconut oil was in my coffee. I had half plantain and half banana, and then some tiger nuts and coconut milk. So that was 293 calories. Not super nutritionally dense. I mean, basically I got some carbs, a little bit of B vitamins. Good amount of B6, I like that. And just little bits here and there, and nothing spectacular. Good source of carbs and fiber. I got 5.9 grams of fiber, so a quarter of my daily value of fiber right there, boom. 41 grams of net carbs, these are complex. 13 grams of healthy fat to keep my blood sugar stable. Between that and the fiber, it's a good hearty breakfast. I like the tiger nuts. They provide the resistant starch too. Now I'm gonna show you what I eat typically for lunch. I rummage through the fridge, and I usually have some pre-shredded veggies of all kinds. Like I usually do a half a head of cabbage at a time, and I'll have some shredded cabbage in the fridge, some shredded onions, some thin sliced celery, some super thin sliced onions. So I try to always keep those around. And then there's always a little bit of randomness. So these are leftover papaya pieces. This is plantain rice. So it's basically pressure cooked green plantain. Then I let it cool until it's super cold and solid, and I rice it up in my food processor. This is some of my plantain-based bacon cheese. And then I have some salmon that I thawed. Lemon wedge, I keep it cut in the fridge. This is coconut milk that I enriched with vitamin C and E. I'm going to put that on after it cools a little. The chopped parsley that I'm keeping fresh with these paper towels. I have some arugula in a bag, some romaine. I dug around in the freezer, grabbed some frozen mussels. I had a couple of oyster cubes and some shrimp, so I'm going to toss that in too. And then I had this jar of marrow onion dressing. I was experimenting, trying to make mayonnaise with bone marrow. It didn't emulsify, so I made some yummy dressing with it. Just a mishmash of stuff. And I froze it in portions. I don't waste stuff. So there's a bunch of randomness. I'm gonna make lunch out of it. I'm gonna get this romaine. I actually already had chopped off the ends. I used those in a stir fry because they're kind of bitter for salad, but they get sweeter when you heat them up. So I stir fry those. And this is gonna be my salad. I like to make my salads in a mixing bowl. This is what Mark Sisson calls the big ass salad. I like to have a lot of volume. I like to sit there and chew and eat for like a good 20 minutes. I feel satiated. I'm just gonna add some of those thin sliced onions, carrot, papaya, some of my bacon cheese. You don't need a little. This goes a long way. This dressing's kind of thick, so I'm just gonna thin it out with some of my coconut milk. So basically what I put in that marrow dressing, it was bone marrow, like coconut milk, and some onion. And I pureed it all, and then I probably put in like some salt and lemon juice. Just drizzle that on. Salt. I love Ganthoda powder. Tastes like black pepper. I re-introed black pepper, but what am I gonna do with all this Ganthoda, right? I use it. And sometimes I'll throw in some kelp granules, like for little sea vegetables. And here's my yummy salad, so I'll eat this while I'm making my stir fry. I'm just gonna use these frozen cubes of clam and oyster juice that were left over from when I made steamed shellfish. And then I'm gonna throw in some of my green cabbage, thin sliced celery, carrot, and onion. So this is starting to cook up. Throw in a little salt. Sometimes I like to throw in some seaweed. You could do a little like a shredded type of seaweed. It adds a saltiness, like a umami. Let's put a little bit in like that. Been on a kelp kick lately, or seaweed kick, but I like this stuff because it's ready to use. You don't have to cut it. That's gonna plump right up and hydrate. At this point, I'll throw in my, and I'm gonna get my salmon cooked, and I'll throw the shrimp in there. I'm gonna put these in last because they just need to thaw gently. They're already cooked. I keep a really close eye on the salmon because there's nothing I hate more than overcooked salmon. So, flip that over. Get the skin off before it gets to the point where it's all falling apart and impossible to get off. You can eat the skin. I don't like it. Give that like maybe another minute. So I just tossed in all that parsley and the mussels and the oyster cubes, and then I'm gonna let that cook for a little while. And at this point, yeah, these are thawed. Okay, perfect. So now I just want to add some green and leafy vegetables. I don't have any kale, so normally I don't saute my arugula, but I'm going to use it instead of my kale today. See how this seaweed plumped up? And it actually looks like seaweed now. Ooh, that's hot. It looks like seaweed now. Just throw in a good amount of arugula. Need those leafy greens. It's going to cook down. And I really hate overcooked greens. These are pretty much done. Oh, they're perfect. They're still bright green. So at this point, I will just like salt to taste. And I like to add a little bit of coconut milk as a finishing touch to give it like a little bit of sweetness and creaminess. And I'll take some of these chives I have growing in a glass of water on my windowsill. I'm gonna stick these right back in the water and they're gonna regrow. Now I could definitely stop here, but there's a little side dish that I've just been obsessed with lately. It's so delicious. Besides, this needs a minute to cool off anyway. So I set that salmon aside so it wouldn't overcook. Look at it, it's cooked to perfection. Oh, it's moist still. Moist. I'm sorry if you hate that word. All right. Anyway, just set this aside and then I'll show you my little side dish I make. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water to the bottom of that pan. And then I'm gonna throw in some of my plantain rice. Get that going. You have to put the water in because this will start sticking and burning, and it kind of rehydrates it and fluffs it up and makes it more rice-like. If you put too much in, you end up with risotto. That's not the worst thing that could happen, right? Then I sprinkle on some of my cheese. It's not, you don't even have to use a lot, just like that much. This will stick and burn, so keep a close eye on it, and as soon as it's hot, get it out of the pan. It's already sticking. It's worth the messy pan, trust me. All right, now look at that. That is what I call cheesy rice. It is very, 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 very good. It's worth making a little mess in the pan. This is the best. It doesn't go with this stir fry dish at all. I don't care. I just love it. I just want to have a little bit on the side. I ate that salad while I was making this, and I'm just gonna eat this gorgeous seafood stir fry with my side of sticky cheesy rice, and this will be my big meal of the day. By the way, look at the nutrition facts of this. So I weighed everything that I put in my lunch, and I just want to show you how incredibly nutrient dense that salmon and shellfish are. This is exactly how much I put in there. So it was just like, you know, 50 grams of mussels, a couple of oysters, a little bit of shrimp, a little piece of salmon, and that was only 328 calories, yet I hit 62% for micronutrients. Look at this, it's insane. 48 grams of protein. Look at the B vitamins, 784% of B12, over half of B2, 88% of niacin, half of B5, 79% of B6. Choline almost half, some folate, some real animal-based retinol vitamin A, vitamin C even. Look at that, over half of my vitamin D, good amount of vitamin E. Copper, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, 200% of selenium, 200% of zinc. That's insane. Those are so incredibly nutrient dense. Here's just the salmon and shellfish. Let's look at what the entire lunch had all together. Here's everything. Now this was a huge lunch. It was 1,000 calories, 1,029 calories. But I mean, I had a smaller breakfast and I'll have a smaller dinner. This is my big meal, and I mean, I literally ate for probably half an hour with that big salad and that big stir fry and that cheesy rice, which, by the way, I mixed it in at the end. Oh, so good, so good. But look at this. For a half, those are half of my daily calories. I hit 92% of my targets for micronutrients just with lunch. 60 grams of protein, 110 grams of carbs, so I'm not low carb. I'm not really high either, kind of moderate. 44 grams of fat. I'll have more healthy fat at dinner. But look at these B vitamins. I mean, I'm either getting really close or I'm 100%. When I have a little red meat at dinner, I'll be just blowing those out of the water. That'll fill in all the rest of these gaps. But look at how nutritious that shellfish, seafood, and veggies were. 19.5 grams of fiber there. 44 grams of fat, and look at that, 339% of my omega-3. That is gorgeous. That is a beautiful lunch. Snacks. If I'm on the go, I love my coconut shortbread no-bake cookies or some kind of fat bomb thing like that. I try to keep my snacks to a minimum and eat 3 meals a day just because it's better for my digestion. So not so many snacks. All right, for dinner, I have some thyme that I picked from my garden like 2 months ago, and it's completely dried in the fridge. It's like the perfect fresh dried thyme. Fresh dried, that's an oxymoron, but I don't know, it's got more of a fresh flavor than the thyme you buy. I love it. I try once a week to have liver, so today's the day. It's like I'll have my fish and shellfish at lunch every day, and then dinner is usually meat, red meat. So liver once or twice a week, or I'll have like meatballs or pot roast or something like that. This is partially thawed. Just gonna throw some onions and the rest of that dressing left over from lunch. I'll make like a cream sauce. Or normally I'll just throw in some coconut milk. Cook this with the lid on at 320. Ooh. Ooh, it's like gravy. Let's cook the other side. Add a tiny touch of water to that. It looks like that is thickening up a little quickly. It hasn't been very long, but there's nothing worse than overcooked liver. Now I can let some of this liquid cook off so we have more of a gravy again. Just looked like it was getting too thick too fast. I didn't want it to start burning. Let's see. Whoop. That is not done enough. You know what I'm gonna do? Cooking that up a little. Just slice it right here in the pan. Just cook it till it's not so red. It is done. If you could smell this, oh, it smells really good. Salt it up. I'm actually making this ahead of time because I'm going to go visit Phil, and then I'll have this around 9 p.m., which is when I usually eat my dinner. So I'm just going to put this in a mason jar and bring it with me, along with some romaine lettuce, and then I'll just toss that all up and I'll have a salad. Probably just eat it cold, although I don't know, maybe I'll reheat it, who knows. But that's gonna be my little nutritious dinner. This might not look beautiful, but it is tasty. And here's dinner. Just 322 calories. Look at these B vitamins. Look at the minerals. Let's look at that. 2,829% of B12. It's crazy. Let's look at the day's totals. Dun dun dun, and the day's totals. So I basically underate today. I usually eat about 2,000 to 2,200 calories, but you know, some days I eat a ton and some days I eat less. I don't actually count calories unless I'm doing this to just check my micronutrients, and then I just happen to know how many calories I ate. And usually it happens that like one day I'll eat 25 or 2,600 calories, and then the next day I'll eat like 16 or 17. So it just kind of goes up and down like that. Anyway, for that amount of calories, I got an extreme amount of nutrition. 88 grams of protein, fine, about 170 grams of total carb, 80 grams of fat. But look at the B vitamins, over 100%, sometimes thousands of percent, in the case of B12, of all of the B vitamins. Choline can be tough to get. Liver's really good about filling that need. Retinol, nothing to worry about there. It's all red just because I went over the amount I need, but that's great. That's retinol, animal form vitamin A. It's really highly bioavailable. Vitamin D and E I was short on, and I always am short on. You know, calcium right at 50%. That's about typical for me. Iron, beautiful. Magnesium, really nice. All this stuff's great. Beautiful, beautiful. Love the zinc there. And then carbs, so I got 28 grams of fiber. So 140 net carbs, just fine. It's just about where I like to be. And 22.7 grams of fructose. I like to keep it under 20, but under 25 is fine. No big deal. All in all, that's a pretty nice nutrient dense day. So there you have it. That's what I eat in a day on AIP lately. And in a few months it'll probably be something different, but right now that's the kick I'm on. If you want to see more videos, subscribe below. I post every Thursday. And I'm also on Patreon, where you can view clips of what I do behind the scenes, stuff I'm working on in the kitchen, what I bought at the grocery store. Those are free to the public. If you want to be a $2 patron, you also get an exclusive patron only recipe tutorial once a month. Things like jibarito sandwich bread and cinnamon raisin bread and bacon salt and salsa verde. Those are, you know, just as a thank you to my patrons, but the clips are always free, so check that out. There's a link below. It says view my lens. I hope to see you guys soon. Until then, be healthy.